Victoria, Princess Royal, was the eldest child of Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom and her husband, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. She was born on the 21st of November, 1840, at Buckingham Palace in London, England, 9 months after her parents' marriage. Her christening was held in the throne room of Buckingham Palace on the 10th of February, 1841, her parents' first wedding anniversary, and she was given the name Victoria Adelaide Mary Louisa in the family. She was known as Vicky. Shortly before her first birthday, Vicky was created Princess Royal, the fourth princess to be styled. Vicky's first governess was Lady Sarah Spencer, daughter of George Spencer, 2nd Earl Spencer, and she married William Littleton, 3rd Baron Littleton. Lady Littleton was widowed in 1837. And shortly afterward, she was appointed a lady-in-waiting to Queen Victoria. Littleton earned the respect of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, and in April of 1843, she was appointed governess to the royal children, who continued to call her Laddie, her nickname. Even when they were adults, Vicky started learning French with a French tutor when she was 18 months old, and then began learning German at the age of 3. Vicky's second governess was Sarah Anne Hildyard, a dedicated and skillful teacher who developed a close relationship with her student. Miss Hildyard, called Tilla, was the daughter of the clergyman and taught Vicky science, literature, Latin, and history. Prince Albert tutored his daughter in politics and philosophy. All Vicky's governesses and tutors were impressed with her intelligence. In 1851, Prince Wilhelm of Prussia, the future King of Prussia and German Emperor, and his wife Augusta were invited to England by Queen Victoria to visit the Great Exhibition in Hyde Park in London, England, which her husband Prince Albert was instrumental in organizing. Wilhelm and Augusta brought their 2 children, 20-year-old Friedrich and 13-year-old Louise. On a visit to the Great Exhibition, 10-year-old Vicky was allowed to accompany the group as a companion to Louise. Despite being only 10 years old, Vicky made an impression on Friedrich, nicknamed Fritz, who was 10 years older than Vicky. 4 years later, in 1855, Fritz was invited back to England by Victoria and Albert for a visit to their Scottish home Balmoral. Both the British and the Prussian royal families expected that Fritz and Vicky should come to a decision about their future together. Fritz was second in line to the Prussian throne after his father, who was expected to succeed his childless brother. Despite the fact that the marriage would not be universally popular in either country, Vicky and Fritz agreed to marry each other. Their marriage would be one of the most romantic of royal marriages. Because Vicky was so young, her parents decreed that their wedding would have to wait until Vicky was 17 years old. It was and still is customary for the wedding to be in the bride's home territory, but Vicky marrying a future monarch, and the wedding was therefore expected to be in Berlin, Kingdom of Prussia. However, Queen Victoria had other plans. Quote, the assumption of it being too much for a Prince Royal of Prussia to come over to marry the Princess Royal of Great Britain in England is too absurd, to say the least. Whatever may be the usual practice of Prussian princes, it is not every day that one marries the eldest daughter of the Queen of England. The question must therefore be considered as settled and closed. End quote. Queen Victoria got her way, and the wedding was scheduled for Monday, the 25th of January, 1858, in the Chapel Royal of St. James's Palace in London, England, where the bride's parents had been married. 18 carriages and 300 soldiers were in the procession for the short ride from Buckingham Palace to St. James's Palace. Queen Victoria and Vicky were in the very last carriage. They were met at St. James's Palace by Prince Albert and King Leopold I of the Belgians, the uncle of both Victoria and Albert. Vicky's 4 brothers were in Highland dress, and the elder 2, Bertie and Alfred, presided the Queen down the aisle. Vicky's 2 younger brothers, Arthur and Leopold, accompanied their mother down the aisle, followed by 3 of Vicky's 4 sisters, Alice, Helena, and Louise, who were dressed in white lace over pink satin. Beatrice, Vicky's youngest sibling, was left back at Buckingham Palace as she was not even a year old. Next came Fritz, wearing a dark blue tunic and white trousers. the uniform of the Prussian 1st Infantry Regiment of the Guard, accompanied by his father and his uncle, Prince Albert. Finally, Vicky came down the aisle escorted by her father, Prince Albert, and her great-uncle, King Leopold I of the Belgians. John Sumner, Archbishop of Canterbury, conducted the service, and he was very nervous that he left out several parts of the service. However, Queen Victoria was pleased that both Vicky and Fritz spoke plainly, as she wrote in her journal. The service was concluded with George Friedrich Handel's Hallelujah Chorus, and then Vicky and Fritz led the recessional to the wedding march by Felix Mendelssohn, the first time it was being used in a wedding. Thereafter, it became a popular wedding recessional. The music is from a suite of incidental music to the Shakespeare play A Midsummer Night's Dream. Queen Victoria loved Mendelssohn music, and the composer often played for her when he visited Great Britain. Vicky and Fritz led the carriage procession back to Buckingham Palace, where they appeared on the balcony with and without their parents. After a wedding breakfast, the newly married couple left by train for a 2-day honeymoon at Windsor Castle. Upon arrival at Windsor, Vicky and Fritz were met by fireworks, cannons, an honor guard, and cheering crowds. Schoolboys from nearby Eton pulled their carriage from the train station up the hill to Windsor Castle. Vicky and Fritz had 8 children: Wilhelm II, German Emperor; Charlotte, Duchess of Meiningen; Heinrich, Sigismund, Victoria, Waldemar, Sophie, and Margaret. Both Prince Albert and Queen Victoria ardently hoped that this marriage will make the ties between London and Berlin closer and lead to a unified and liberal Germany. However, Vicky and Fritz were politically isolated, and their liberal and Anglophile views clashed with the authoritarian ideas of the Minister-President of Prussia, Otto von Bismarck. Despite their efforts to educate their eldest son Wilhelm about the benefits of democracy, he favored his German tutor's views of autocratic rule and became alienated from both his parents. The year 1888 is called the Year of the Three Emperors in German history. Fritz's father, Wilhelm I, died on the 9th of March 1888, and Fritz succeeded him as Friedrich III. However, Fritz was already gravely ill with cancer of the larynx and lived only 3 months more, dying at the age of 56 on the 15th of June 1888, when his son Wilhelm succeeded to the throne. After her husband's death, Vicky lived at Schloss Friedrichshof, a castle she built in memory of her husband near Kronberg, close to Frankfurt, Germany. Today, the castle is a 5-star hotel. Vicky remained close to her British relatives and regularly corresponded with her mother. 3,777 letters from Queen Victoria to her daughter Vicky, and more than 4,000 from Vicky to her mother have been catalogued. In 1899, while visiting her mother at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, Vicky was diagnosed with breast cancer. By 1900, cancer had spread to her spine, and she suffered a great deal during her last months of her life. When Queen Victoria died on the 22nd of January 1901, Vicky was too ill to go to England. She died less than 7 months later on the 5th of August 1901 at the age of 60. Vicky was buried in the Royal Mausoleum of the Friedrichsreich in Potsdam, Kingdom of Prussia, now in Brandenburg, Germany, next to her beloved husband Fritz. Their 2 sons who died in childhood are buried in the same mausoleum. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment down below, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you can get notified when I post a new video. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I want to say this again. Thank you so much for watching.